Hello, and welcome to 10-Minute Mastery. This session will cover debits and credits. This is part 3, solving transactions using debits and credits with T accounts. By the end of this 10-minute mastery, you will be able to solve transactions with the use of T accounts while applying the concept of debits and credits in accounting. Let's first review what we know from parts 1 and 2 of the Debits and Credits series. Remembering to debit all that comes in and credit all that goes out. We know that debit only means left and credit only means right. We also know that debits and credits are neither good nor bad. They do not mean increase or decrease, and they are neither favorable nor unfavorable. We also know that for every debit, there must be a credit. This is what a T account looks like. On the left side is the debit side, and then on the right side is our credit side. Let's also review what we know from parts 1 and 2. Assets. Debits increase asset balances, while credits decrease asset balances. Owner's capital. Debits will decrease equity balances, while credits increase equity balances. For our liabilities accounts, debits will decrease liabilities balances, while credits will increase a liability balance. And then for expenses, debits increase expense balances, while credits decrease expense balances. Let's see how this works using examples here. Example 1, the first business transaction we have is received cash from owner as an investment in the amount of $5,000. This business transaction impacts the cash account and the capital account. This will be a debit to cash in the amount of $5,000, which will increase the cash account. And this business transaction will also include a credit because every transaction has a debit and a credit. The credit is to the capital account in the same amount of $5,000. And you can see the credit here will increase the capital account. Let's go through another example. Business transaction. Paid cash for supplies in the amount of $200. This business transaction impacts the accounts cash and supplies. If you'll notice, this business transaction impacts two assets, and that's okay. Here, cash is going to be credited in the amount of $200, and that will decrease the cash account. While the supplies account is increasing, we're going to debit this asset for $200. You can see here, these two assets will appear on the same side of the accounting equation, but there's kind of a plus and a minus going on, so it will leave the accounting equation balanced. And here in this transaction, you can see we have a debit and a credit. Let's look at another example. Example 3, business transaction. We paid cash for insurance in the amount of $500. This is another example of impacting two assets in one transaction. Cash and prepaid insurance are the accounts impacted here. We are going to credit cash for $500. This decreases the cash account. At the same time, we will debit prepaid insurance in the same amount of $500. This account is increasing. And remember, for every transaction, there must be a debit and a credit. We can't have a business transaction that only impacts one account. Every business transaction must always impact at least two accounts. Let's look at example 4, business transaction. Bought supplies on account from Ocean's Supplies in the amount of $100. This business transaction impacts supplies and accounts payable Ocean's Supplies. These are two different accounts. Supplies are increased by a $100 debit, while accounts payable is increased with a credit of $100. Here you can see this business transaction has both a debit and a credit, and there are two accounts impacted here. Example 5, transaction. Paid cash on account to Ocean's Supplies in the amount of $80. The accounts that are impacted are cash and accounts payable Ocean's Supplies. For this particular transaction, the cash account will be decreased, so we need to credit $80. And the accounts payable account is decreasing by $80. You can see here in this transaction, we have both a debit and a credit, and each of the accounts are impacted by $80 each. Cash is decreased with a credit. Accounts payable is decreased with the debit. Thank you for viewing. Feel free to leave a comment below and don't forget to subscribe. Also leave a like.